Just one kiss, he murmured, but the billionaire wanted more the moment their lips met. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let us get back to our main character. Warm light spills across the rooftop terrace of a midtown bar, turning every glass and every polished surface into a soft golden glow. The quiet hum of conversations blends with the gentle clink of silverware. It is the kind of place where people wear confidence like a tailored suit, and yet as she steps out of the elevator she feels like she does not belong. Her name is Ava Carter. Her thrifted dress fits well enough, but the thread near her left shoulder is slightly loose, and she keeps smoothing it down as if the small imperfection might expose her entire world. Her paycheck from the cafe barely covers rent. Her part-time job as a children's art teaching aide gives her joy but not enough financial security. And tonight she is only here because her best friend insisted she needed one evening of excitement. Ava takes a breath, touches the edge of the small sketchbook in her bag for courage, and whispers to herself, "Table 21, Table 21. Her shoes tap nervously against the wooden floor as she crosses the plank terrace. Candlelight flickers along her path. She tries to look like she knows exactly where she is going, even though she feels the opposite. When she finally spots a man sitting alone at a small corner table, she hesitates. The number card reads 21. He looks up just as she approaches. He is striking in a quiet, refined way. Dark hair, slightly tousled, suit flawless even in the dim light posture. Relaxed yet somehow alert, as if he sees more than he lets on. His eyes meet hers, steady and unreadable. Ava swallows, steps closer, and forces a smile. "Hi, you must be Kevin, right?" A faint crease forms between his brows. He draws a breath as if preparing to correct her, but in that brief pause something shifts. His phone buzzes once on the table, a cancelled meeting. He glances at her nervous posture, the way she clutches her bag strap, trying not to look overwhelmed. And then his expression softens. He tilts his head and offers a gentle, almost amused smile. "Yes," he says quietly. "Kevin." Ava lets out a breath of relief she did not realize she was holding, and sits down quickly before she can overthink anything. Her fingers trace the rim of the water glass in front of her. Her voice trembles slightly as she says, "Sorry, I have never done a blind date before." The man, whose real name is Liam Hartman, a billionaire who usually avoids unnecessary conversations, leans back in his chair, studying her with unexpected curiosity. For once he does not feel the weight of expectations. He does not feel like the man who runs a tech empire known across the country. In this moment he feels strangely human. Ava glances around, then back at him. "So, what do you do?" He pauses. This is the moment where he should tell the truth. But something about the sincerity in her eyes, the way she seems to be fighting to stay composed in a world that constantly pushes her aside, makes him hesitate. "I work in tech," he says simply. She nods quickly, relieved that he did not ask her turn yet. "I make coffee," she says, then laughs nervously, "and teach art to kids in the afternoons." She talks a little too fast, filling the space, because silence feels dangerous. Liam listens, surprisingly captivated by every word. The waiter brings water. Candlelight shifts. A breeze passes through the open terrace, brushing a strand of hair against Ava's cheek. She tucks it behind her ear, embarrassed. Her heart is beating too loud. She wonders if he can hear it. He cannot. But he can see something else, her honesty, the kind that is hard to find in boardrooms or billionaire circles. And it disarms him. Then it happens. Ava reaches for the menu at the same moment Liam reaches for the water glass. Their hands collide. She startles, loses balance slightly, and Liam moves instinctively to steady her. His hand slips behind her waist. She leans forward. Their faces are suddenly closer than they intended, and before either of them fully processes it, their lips brush. Soft, brief, electric. Ava gasps and pulls back instantly, her cheeks burning. "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, I did not mean." Liam's eyes widen just slightly. Something flickers through them, a spark he did not expect, a desire he has no control over. His voice drops to a quiet murmur, almost a whisper carried by the warm night breeze. "Just one kiss," he murmurs, as if repeating a thought he should not have voiced. Ava freezes breath caught in her chest. "It was an accident," she says, quickly standing up from her chair. "I should go. I am really sorry." Before he can stop her, she grabs her bag, nearly knocking her sketchbook loose, and hurries toward the elevator. The doors close between them, leaving Liam staring at the empty chair she left behind. His fingers drift to his lips, still feeling the ghost of the moment. He inhales slowly. He wanted more. Much more than he expected. And he has no idea that this brief accidental kiss is only the beginning. The elevator doors close with a soft chime as Ava disappears from the rooftop terrace. For a long moment, Liam remains seated, one hand still resting where her sketchbook nearly slipped from her bag. The faint warmth of that accidental kiss lingers, unsettling him in a way he has not felt in years. He stands slowly, drawing a steady breath, but something inside him refuses to settle. A billionaire is used to control, to predictability, to polished interactions where everything is filtered and rehearsed. What just happened with Ava feels nothing like that. It feels real, raw, human. He leaves the terrace, but the quiet echo of her apology and the way her eyes widened before she ran off play in his mind longer than he expects. Downstairs, Ava walks through the lobby with unsteady steps. She keeps her head down, cheeks burning, trying to convince herself she did not just kiss a complete stranger on what was supposed to be an ordinary evening. Her pulse pounds against her ribs as she reaches the revolving doors. The night air is cool against her flushed skin. She stops under the streetlight, gripping her bag tightly. What was that? She whispers to no one. She presses a hand to her lips. They still tingle. The embarrassment makes her shake her head. She tells herself it was nothing more than a mistake, a clumsy moment caused by nerves and bad timing. She steps away from the entrance and walks toward the subway. Her shoes tap against the pavement, each step punctuating her rising frustration. But then she stops. Her sketchbook is missing. Her heart sinks. She must have dropped it when she panicked. That book holds her best drawings. Her dream. Her whole world pressed between worn pages and smudged charcoal. Ava turns around to go back, but the elevator requires a key card to return to the rooftop. Her shoulders fall. She will have to wait until the cafe opens tomorrow to ask if anyone found it. The thought weighs heavy on her as she heads home. Meanwhile, Liam steps into his private car, the sketchbook in hand. He does not open it at first. He simply sits there, staring at the cover. The fabric is worn at the corners, the spine softened by use. It is a book that has been carried everywhere, held through long nights and hopeful mornings. It smells faintly of pencil shavings and lavender hand cream. His driver glances in the rearview mirror but wisely says nothing. Only when the city lights blur past the window does Liam finally turn the first page. The breath he draws is slow and unexpected. Inside are drawings of children laughing, small hands learning to hold paintbrushes, families smiling despite simple clothes. The next pages reveal landscapes sketched with a gentle, steady line. There are tiny portraits, a few messy attempts, and one drawing in particular that makes him pause. A rooftop terrace, a single empty table, and a man sketched with careful strokes as if the artist did not want to forget the shape of him. The caption beneath it reads, "One day maybe I will paint a world I feel brave enough to belong in." Liam closes the book but keeps his hand on the cover. Something inside his chest tugs hard, cracking open a part of him he thought had hardened long ago. He looks out the window at the city passing by. He thinks of Ava's nervous voice, her apology, her dream, that unplanned kiss that sparked something he cannot explain yet. For a moment he considers calling his assistant, asking for research, finding out who she is, where she works. But he does not. He does not want to ruin the sincerity of their strange, accidental meeting. He sets the sketchbook beside him and whispers almost reluctantly, "I should return this." But even he hears the uncertainty in his own voice. Ava reaches her small apartment just past midnight. The lights flicker when she turns them on, and the plumbing makes its usual groan. She sets her bag on the chair and sinks onto her bed. The memory of the kiss washes over her again. She closes her eyes. His voice echoes softly in her mind. Just one kiss. Her stomach twists. She covers her face with her hands. "I need to forget this ever happened," she tells herself. Yet sleep does not come easily. She keeps thinking of the sketchbook, wondering whether the stranger who seemed too polished to be a simple Kevin has it. She wonders if he laughed at her drawings, if he thought she was ridiculous for believing her art mattered. The thought aches. Eventually she drifts into a restless sleep. The next morning sunlight pours through her window. Ava wakes with the heaviness of unfinished thoughts. She ties her hair back, throws on jeans and a simple sweater and heads to work at the cafe. The early shift is always quiet, giving her too much room to think. She wipes down the counter, straightens the pastry display, and forces herself not to look toward the door every time the bell above it rings. She tells herself that he does not know her name, that he will not come. That last night was nothing but a fleeting mistake for both of them. She nearly believes it. Until the door opens, and Liam steps inside. Not as a billionaire, not in a tailored suit, just a man holding a familiar sketchbook. Her breath catches. He walks toward her slowly, deliberately, his eyes never leaving hers. When he reaches the counter, he sets the sketchbook down gently as if it is something precious. "Good morning, Ava," he says softly. "I believe this belongs to you." Her heart stops. Ava stands frozen behind the counter, her hand still resting on the espresso machine. The sight of Liam holding her sketchbook feels like a dream she is not prepared to step into. Her throat tightens. She wants to ask how he found her, why he came, whether he opened the pages she poured her heart into, but no words form. Liam watches her carefully, sensing her uncertainty. His voice is soft, steady. "I am sorry if I startled you," he says. "I thought it would be better to return this in person rather than leave it at the rooftop bar." He pushes the sketchbook a little closer. The gesture is gentle, almost respectful. Ava reaches out slowly and rests her fingertips on the worn cover. He notices the way her shoulders relax just a little, as if the weight of losing it had been heavier than she let herself admit. "Thank you," she finally says. "I thought it was gone forever." There is a pause, brief but full of unspoken questions. Customers chat quietly at nearby tables, unaware that the world has shrunk into the small space between the two of them. Liam clears his throat. "I wanted to apologize for last night. I know it was a confusing moment." Ava laughs nervously, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "That is one way to describe it." She looks down, embarrassed. "I really did not mean to kiss you. I mean, it was not exactly a kiss. It just happened so fast, and it was an accident," he finishes for her. She nods quickly. "Yes, exactly." But there is something in his expression, something warm and quiet, that makes her heart stir in a way she refuses to acknowledge. She pulls the sketchbook to her chest, hugging it the way someone might hold a fragile memory. Liam glances at the cafe menu board as if searching for something neutral to say. "Do you have a moment? I would like to explain a few things. Or at least start over properly." She hesitates. He seems sincere, but her trust has always been something she offers slowly, carefully. Still, she gestures toward an empty table near the window. "I have a short break." They sit facing each other, sunlight spilling across the table. Ava folds her hands neatly, trying to look composed. Liam rests his palms on the edge of the table, not too close to her, giving her space. "I am not Kevin," he begins, offering a humble smile. "I realize that might be important to clarify." Her eyes widen, and a surprised laugh escapes before she can stop it. "I figured that out when you walked in this morning. I wanted to correct you last night," he says. "But then you sat down and you looked so nervous. I did not want to make it worse." Ava feels a blush rise to her cheeks. "You played along." He nods once. "Just for a moment." She exhales, processing that. "Then who are you really?" Another pause. He is careful with this answer, as if the truth carries weight. "My name is Liam Hartman," he says simply. "I run a technology company. It is not something I talk about often outside work." Ava absorbs the words slowly. She expected many possibilities. That he was a consultant, a lawyer, maybe an investment guy. But a billionaire. It feels too distant, too polished, too different from her world. She looks down at her hands. "Why did you come here?" He leans forward just a little. "Because your sketchbook made me realize something. Your drawings, they are full of life, full of hope. I could not pretend last night meant nothing. I wanted to see you again and return this personally." Ava lifts her eyes, unsure how to respond. No one has ever spoken about her art with that kind of reverence. It feels overwhelming, almost undeserved. I did not mean for you to see those pages, she whispers. They are beautiful, he replies without hesitation. The words land softly, but they ripple through her. She holds her sketchbook tighter, blinking back a sudden warmth in her chest. Before she can say anything, her manager calls from behind the counter. Ava, break time is over. She stands quickly, almost too quickly. I should get back. Liam rises as well. Of course. Thank you for letting me talk to you. As she steps away, she pauses, then turns back. Liam. Yes, it was. Nice to see you again. A small smile forms on his lips. It was nice to see you too. He leaves the cafe quietly, but Ava watches him through the window as he steps onto the sidewalk. He looks back once, meeting her eyes through the glass. It is brief, but the moment lingers long after he walks away. She presses a hand lightly to her sketchbook and whispers almost to herself, "Why does it feel like this is not the end?" For the rest of her shift, Ava moves from table to table with a calm smile, but her mind keeps drifting back to Liam. Every time she wipes a counter or hands out a cup of coffee, she hears his voice again. Your drawings are beautiful. The compliment sits in her chest like a warm ember she is afraid to touch. By the time the afternoon sun lowers through the cafe windows, her thoughts have tangled into a knot of curiosity and confusion. She keeps telling herself it was only a conversation, a moment, a polite gesture after an awkward night, but something inside her knows it was more than that, even if she cannot name it yet. When her shift ends, she changes into her jacket and steps outside. The air smells faintly of roasted beans drifting from the cafe vents. She is about to head toward the subway when she notices a figure across the street. Liam. He is leaning against a street lamp, hands tucked into the pockets of a simple charcoal coat. The look is understated, far from the image she imagined a billionaire would keep. When he sees her, he stands a little straighter, an almost shy expression touching his face. Ava walks over slowly. Did you wait for me? Yes, he admits, no excuses, no attempt to soften the truth. I wanted to make sure you got home safely. She frowns lightly. I take the subway every day. I am fine, I know, he says. But I still wanted to walk with you. If that is all right. His honesty disarms her. There is no pressure in his voice, no expectation, just a quiet sincerity she cannot easily refuse. All right, she says softly. They fall into step along the sidewalk. Cars pass, lights glow in store windows, and the city hums in its late afternoon rhythm. For a moment they do not speak. Then Liam glances at her, measuring his words carefully. I hope I did not make you uncomfortable today. You did not, Ava replies. She hesitates before adding, it was unexpected, but not uncomfortable. He nods relief, flickering across his face. They walk past a florist shop, the scent of fresh lilies drifting out of the doorway. Ava feels the silence stretch again, but this time it feels warm rather than awkward. Liam breaks it gently. Can I ask something? Why do you draw children so often? Ava looks down, a small smile forming. Because they see the world without fear. I want to remember what that feels like. He absorbs the words quietly, as if they reveal more about her than she intended. When they reach the entrance of her apartment building, she stops. The bricks are old, the light above the door flickering faintly. She feels suddenly self-conscious, uncertain how someone like him sees the worn edges of her life. Thank you for walking with me, she says. Liam meets her eyes, his voice steady. Thank you for letting me. For a moment they simply stand there, the evening settling around them like a soft blanket. Ava feels a flutter she tries to suppress, afraid of rushing into something she does not fully understand. She steps back toward the door. Good night, Liam. Good night, Ava. He waits until she is safely inside before turning to leave, the shadow of a smile lingering on his face. As she climbs the stairs, her heart beats faster than she expected. She presses a hand against the railing, trying to slow her thoughts. Because deep down she knows the truth. This is not just a coincidence, and it is no longer just one kiss. Ava wakes earlier than usual the next morning. The sunlight is soft, spilling across her small apartment in gentle stripes. She lies still for a moment, listening to the quiet. Her mind drifts immediately to the image of Liam standing under the street lamp, waiting for her as if he had nowhere else he needed to be. The memory pulls a quiet breath from her chest. She sits up, wraps her hands around a warm mug of instant coffee, and opens her sketchbook. The pages are exactly as she left them, but now they feel different, touched by the knowledge that someone else has seen them. Someone who looked at them with an expression she cannot forget. She touches the page with the rooftop drawing, tracing the pencil lines lightly. For the first time in a long while, instead of fear, she feels something close to pride. By the time she reaches the cafe for her shift, she feels steadier. Or so she tells herself. The morning rush comes and goes. The hiss of the espresso machine, the clatter of mugs, and the soft buzz of conversation help distract her. But sometime after noon she senses a sudden shift in the room, subtle, like a current of attention pulling in one direction. She turns. Liam is standing in line. Her heart skips. He is dressed simply again, but there is something in the way he carries himself that makes people move aside without realizing it. When their eyes meet, his expression warms instantly, as if seeing her is the highlight of his morning. Ava pretends to adjust the syrup bottles just to buy herself a few seconds. He steps up to the counter. "Good afternoon," he says. "Good afternoon," she echoes, then clears her throat. "You came back. I thought I would get coffee today," he answers, though his eyes tell a different truth. "What would you like?" "Whatever you recommend." She laughs softly. "That is dangerous. I might give you something you hate." "I will take the risk," he replies, his voice low and calm. She makes him a caramel latte, adding a small flourish of foam art. She tells herself it is just part of her job, but the slight tremor in her hands says otherwise. When she hands him the cup, their fingers brush. The contact is brief, but it sparks something warmer than it should. He holds her gaze a moment too long, then steps aside to let the next customer order. A few minutes later, when the cafe quiets, she joins him at a side table during her break. He takes a sip and smiles. "This is very good. It is not fancy," she says. "It does not need to be." Silence settles again, the comfortable kind. Ava studies him quietly. There is something about Liam that she is still trying to understand. He seems grounded, thoughtful, a man used to making decisions quickly, but choosing to slow down around her. "Liam," she begins, hesitant. "Why are you here, I mean? Really here?" He sets the cup down, meeting her eyes with a seriousness that makes her pulse quicken. "Because yesterday mattered to me," he says. "Walking with you, talking with you, returning the sketchbook." He pauses, voice softer. "I wanted to see you again." Ava looks down at her hands. "The truth feels too close, too real. I do not know what you expect from me. I do not expect anything," he says. "I just want to know you. As you are." His words disarm her like nothing else. No grand gestures, no expensive moves. Just a simple truth laid gently between them. Before she can respond, her manager calls her back to the counter. She stands flustered. "I need to get back." Liam rises too. "Of course." As she steps away, he calls after her quietly, just loud enough for her to hear. "Ava, I meant every word." She stops, breath unsteady, then forces herself to keep walking. From behind the counter, she watches him leave through the cafe doors, the bell chiming softly. He glances back once, offering the smallest smile before disappearing into the afternoon light. Ava presses her palm against her apron right over her heart, trying to make sense of the way it pounds. Because something is happening slowly, gently, undeniably. The days that follow move quietly but with a strange, persistent awareness. Ava goes to work as usual, ties her apron, wipes the counters, serves customers. Yet every morning she wonders, even if she tries not to, will he come today? Will I see him again? Sometimes he does. Sometimes he does not. But the days he walks through the cafe door, she feels it instantly. She pretends she does not notice, but her voice always softens a little, her hands steady, her heartbeat not so steady. Each time they talk only briefly. Nothing dramatic, nothing overly personal, just tiny pieces of themselves exchanged across the small round table near the window. A simple question about her art. A quiet comment about his favorite books. A story she shares about a child in her class who cried when she learned how to paint a sunset. Small moments that add up in ways she does not see until later. One evening after the cafe closes, Ava stays behind to clean the pastry case. The glass fogs slightly under her breath as she works. She thinks about Liam again, then shakes her head as if trying to shoo away a thought she knows has already rooted too deeply. She finishes, turns off the lights, and steps outside. The street is calm-washed in the yellow glow of street lamps. She pulls her jacket tighter around her shoulders and starts walking, A familiar voice calls from behind her. Ava. She turns. Liam stands near the corner, as if he has been waiting with no clear plan except the hope of seeing her. He steps toward her, hands in his pockets, expression warm but a little uncertain. I hoped I was not too late, he says. For what, she asks softly. For a walk, he replies. If you want one. She hesitates only for a moment, then nods. They walk side by side along the quiet street. The rhythm is unhurried, almost natural. Ava is aware of the small things, the way Liam tilts his head slightly when he listens, the way he slows his pace, so she does not have to rush, the way he glances at her, with an expression he never quite lets linger long enough to scare her. When they reach the small park near her apartment, they sit on a bench facing the dark outline of trees. A few lights twinkle through the branches. The air is cool enough to make her draw her sleeves down, but gentle enough that neither of them suggests leaving. Liam speaks first, his voice barely above the hush of the wind. You know, meeting you has made my days feel different. Ava looks down at her hands. Different. How he takes a breath, searching for the right words. Quieter, but more real. She lets the words settle, unsure how to respond. She is not used to someone choosing her presence for the sake of simply being near. She is not used to a man like him, successful, composed, everything. She is not looking at her as if she brings something into his life he did not know he was missing. A soft tremor moves through her. Liam, I do not want to misunderstand anything. He turns to her, steady and sincere. You are not misunderstanding. The honesty in his voice startles her, warm and terrifying all at once. She rises from the bench, suddenly needing air. He does not move to stop her. She turns back, conflicted. I am not sure I can handle whatever this is. Liam stands too, keeping a respectful distance. We can take it slowly, he says. As slowly as you need. Her breath catches at the gentleness in his tone. She nods once. Good night, Liam. Good night, Ava. As she walks toward her building, she feels his gaze following her, protective, careful, patient. And for the first time she lets herself admit the truth. She wants to see him again. The next week settles into a quiet rhythm, almost like an unspoken agreement between them. Liam visits the cafe every other day, never announcing himself, never demanding attention. He orders whatever Ava recommends, even if it is the simplest drink on the menu. And every time, without fail, he chooses the table by the window, the one where sunlight falls across the wood in soft, warm streaks. Ava tells herself she has grown used to seeing him. But the truth reveals itself each time. Her pulse lifts just slightly when the door chimes or when she hears his voice drift across the counter. She tries hard to remain steady, professional, composed. Yet he always finds a way to make her laugh, sometimes with a gentle comment, sometimes with a quiet observation about the world outside the window. One Thursday afternoon, the cafe is nearly empty when her manager allows her a 15-minute break. She carries a cup of tea to Liam's table, unsure if she is offering it as a courtesy or because she wants to sit beside him. He accepts it with a smile that reaches his eyes. Thank you, he says. It is nothing, she replies, though she feels her cheeks warm. They sit quietly for a moment, listening to the hum of the coffee machines in the background. A child outside presses her hands against the window, leaving tiny prints before running back to her mother. Ava watches the girl with a soft expression, then glances down at her own hands. I used to draw like that when I was younger, she says. Liam turns to her. Do you still draw for yourself, not just for the children in your class? She hesitates before answering. I try. But life gets complicated. Sometimes the things we stop doing are the things we need the most, he says, his tone gentle, not intrusive. Ava looks at him, trying to understand how someone so composed can speak in a way that feels both soothing and truthful. She knows there is more to him, layers she has not uncovered yet. She senses a quiet loneliness in him, the kind that mirrors parts of her own. Before she can respond, her phone buzzes. She checks the screen and her face goes pale. It is the landlord, she murmurs. Liam watches her carefully. Is everything all right? She shakes her head. My rent increased this month. I am short. I thought I could make it work, but... Her voice fades. She does not finish the sentence. He does not interrupt, does not offer money, does not rush in to solve a problem he barely understands. He simply waits, allowing her to keep her dignity. After a long breath, she says, I may need to take extra shifts, or find something else. She attempts a small laugh. I am sure it will work out. But her eyes tell a different story. Liam leans forward slightly. Ava, if you ever need help, not money, not charity help, you can tell me. She looks away, overwhelmed by the sincerity in his tone. You barely know me. Maybe he replies. But I want to. Her chest tightens. She is not sure whether to step closer or pull away. Before she can choose, her manager calls Ava. Break is over. She stands quickly, her heartbeat unsteady. I should go. Liam rises too. We can finish this conversation another time. She nods, clutching her phone lightly, as if the world has become heavier. Thank you, Liam, she says, for what he asks, for listening. He gives a small smile, one filled with quiet understanding. As she returns to the counter, she feels his gaze linger on her just a moment longer before he leaves the cafe. She tells herself her life is too complicated for moments like these. But moments like these are exactly what she keeps thinking about long after he is gone. Ava spends the next few days trying to keep her focus on work, but her landlord's message hangs over her like a quiet storm cloud. She works extra hours, takes on more cleaning tasks, accepts every shift her manager offers. Yet even with all of that, she knows the numbers still will not stretch. Each night she opens her sketchbook to comfort herself. Drawing has always been where she finds stability. But now her pencil hesitates, falters. Worry has a way of dimming even the brightest parts of her. On Friday afternoon, she is in the cafe's storage room, stacking milk cartons when she hears the door chime. She does not think much of it, not until she steps out with a box in her hands and sees Liam standing at the counter. He looks at her with a soft, searching expression. Hi, he says. Ava tries to smile, but she knows it does not reach her eyes. Hi. He notices instantly. You look tired. It has been a long week, she says quietly. There is a pause, the kind that invites honesty if she chooses it. She sets the box down and wipes her hands on her apron, suddenly aware of how worn the fabric has become. Liam steps a little closer. Ava, about the rent. Have you figured anything out? Her throat tightens. She hates feeling exposed, hates that he sees the cracks she tries so hard to hide. I will manage, she answers, but the words lack conviction. He studies her for a long moment. Let me ask you something. If you could choose anything, anything at all, what would you do with your time? She blinks, caught off guard. I do not know. I guess I would teach art. Not just in a classroom. I would have a real space. A place children could come and paint and feel safe. Liam absorbs every word, his expression slowly shifting from thoughtful to decisive. A place, he repeats softly. That matters. Ava looks away, suddenly embarrassed. It is just a dream. Not something people like me get to have. He shakes his head gently. Do not say that. Before she can respond, a customer calls from the register. She steps back toward the counter, but she feels Liam's gaze on her, steady, warm, and full of something she cannot quite decipher. She forces herself to focus on the customer's order, but her mind keeps drifting back to the look in his eyes. A look that tells her he is thinking about more than rent, more than coffee, more than a passing connection. He is thinking about her. Ava finishes her shift later than usual that night. The cafe feels strangely quiet as she wipes the last table, her mind heavy with worry. When she steps outside, she pulls her jacket tight around her and begins her walk home. The street is cool, washed in the soft glow of passing headlights. Halfway down the block, she slows. Liam is standing under the awning of her apartment building, hands clasped in front of him as if he has rehearsed something important. When he sees her, his expression eases, but the resolve in his eyes does not. Liam, she whispers. What are you doing here? I wanted to talk to you, he says. But more than that, I wanted to show you something. She hesitates, then nods. All right. He gestures for her to follow him around the corner. Her steps are cautious, unsure, but a strange trust guides her forward. When they reach the small, empty storefront beside a laundromat, Liam stops. The windows are covered with paper, the inside dark. A for rent sign hangs loosely on the door. Ava frowns. Why are we here? Liam turns to her. His voice is steady, sincere. I know your rent is difficult. I know you have been working too hard, and I know you think your dreams are too far away. He pauses. But they are not. He pulls a key from his coat pocket. I rented this space for you. Ava's breath stops. Liam, no. I cannot. Her voice cracks. You should not do something like this. I am not buying you anything, he says gently. I am giving you a chance. A chance to create the art studio you told me about. A place for children. A place that matters. Tears gather in her eyes, confusion and gratitude tangled together. Why? Why would you do this for me? Liam steps closer but keeps his voice soft. Because you changed something in me. Because that night, the night you thought was a mistake, it was the moment I found something real. He exhales. Ava, I wanted more the second our lips met. And every day since, a tear slips down her cheek. He reaches up, brushing it away with the back of his fingers. If you do not want this, I will cancel it tomorrow, he says. But I hope you will let yourself have something good. Ava looks at him. Really looks at him. This man who could have offered money, power, anything grand, yet chose instead to offer belief. Patience. Space for her dreams. Her voice is a whisper. I want this. And I want you to stay. Liam smiles, relief washing over his features. He leans in slowly, giving her time to move away if she chooses. She does not. Their kiss is different this time. Intentional, warm, steady. Not an accident. Not a mistake. When they part, she rests her forehead against his. Thank you, she murmurs. He holds her close. No. Thank you. Under the streetlight, with the storefront glowing softly behind them, Ava realizes something she never let herself believe. The best mistake of her life was never a mistake at all.